Here we're going to tie a bonefish bidder. First thing we're going to do is just get our thread started. Next thing to do is to tie in a pair of medium bead chain eyes, at least for the size that we're tying here. I think I'm tying about a size 8. We're just going to lock these eyes down with a few figure 8 or X wraps in between them. It'll help keep them from rolling around. Then we're going to take our thread to the middle of the hook. We're going to invert our hook to make it a little bit easier on us for the next step. Next step is to take a pair or 3 pairs of legs. When I mean pairs, I mean I'm going to tie them right in the middle of the hunk of legs, so that leaves me 2 legs, pair of legs. And I'm just going to figure X or figure 8 around these legs just like I did on the eyes. This is going to secure them and lock them into place. And I do this with all the legs together. That way they're going to stay in the same spot and splay out from the middle of the fly, which is what I want. Now once I have those legs tied in, I'm just going to take them and peel them backwards a little bit to keep them out of the way. And I'm going to leave my thread about halfway in between the eyes and those legs, and I'm going to tie in some bleached deer hair. Depending on the color that you're going to tie, depends on the color of the deer hair you can use. Since I'm tying a pink or a light colored one, I'm going to use some bleached deer hair. If you're tying a brown or an olive bidder, then you're going to use natural or brown deer hair. I'm going to put this in a stacker and I'm going to stack the hair to even the tips. Once I've got the tips nice and even in my stacker, I want these tips to be about the length of the hook, so I just barely want them to poke off the back of the hook here. So I'm just going to pinch those into place. I'm going to do a loose wrap with my thread, and I'll do another one, then I'll bite down with it, cinch down. Now I'm going to take a couple of wraps through the deer hair, so I'll just peel back a clump and pull down. That'll help it stay in place and keep it from rolling. Once I've done that, I'm going to take my thread. I'm actually going to jump in front of the eyes, right to the eye of the hook, and I'm just going to simply whip finish really fast. Now we're ready to do some cleaning up here. I'm going to take the butt ends of all this deer hair. I'm going to peel it forward, separate it from the tips of the deer hair. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to draw all that deer hair up, and I'm going to trim fairly close, but I'm going to leave a little bit of a head or a bulge there. I'll kind of imitate a shrimp or a crab legs or body. And if there's any that kind of poke beyond the eyes, I don't want them to go forward too much. I want them to stay just behind the eyes. Now the next thing to do is to trim our legs, so all I'm going to do is let them hang. And I want to trim these legs about the length from the eye to the back of the hook, about a shank length. And I'm just going to trim those. And I can flip the fly back over into the upright position. Kind of clean up some of the pieces that are caught here. There we go. And for the most part, we're done. All we're going to do now is we're going to actually add some glue to the head. Traditionally, epoxy has been used for this step. I like to use something a little bit different. I'm going to use some Loon UV fly finish, and I have my Loon mixing cup here. I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of UV fly finish into the mixing cup, and once I've done that, I'm going to take some fly tying powder from Loon. I'm going to use the green pearlescent. It's kind of an opalish, kind of greenish hue to it. Looks very shrimpy. Then I'm going to put it in my mixing cup, and I'm just going to mix it all together. I'm going to use a nail for that. Once I've got it mixed together, I'm going to take a portion of it. I have it on the head of my nail, and I'm just going to work it onto the head of the fly. It's best to do this in small amounts. You don't want to get too carried away and put one giant glob on all at once. All I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of rotate my vise. I want to get some on the underside too. And I'll go all the way to the tip of the eyes, Beadchain eyes. Once I've got the head coated, I'm going to take just a little bit more. I'm going to put a little strip down the back of the fly too, just a little bit. This will help protect our thread. I got a little bit of a hair stuck in there. There we go. Once you've got it about where you want it, you're going to take your UV curing light. And you're just going to zap the fly here. This will help set it, harden the glue. This will lock in all the color as well. And that's all there is to a bonefish bidder with a little bit of flair added to it. Instead of just clear epoxy, you can add a little bit of color, a little bit of pigment, a little bit of sparkle. Really gets the bonefish going. And that's all there is to a bonefish bidder.